I never imagined I would dread my own 70th birthday. For weeks, everyone kept saying, 70 is a milestone, as if that alone guaranteed joy. My son Daniel insisted on a big family dinner. My daughter-in-law Melissa volunteered, insisted on organizing everything. She smiled while doing it, that tight, polished smile that never quite reached her eyes. "Don't worry, Mom," she said, calling me Mom the way someone might call a stranger dear. "I'll take care of everything, you just show up." I should have known right then. Melissa and I had never truly gotten along. We were civil, painfully polite, but beneath the surface there was tension, the kind that hums quietly until it explodes. She liked control. I liked honesty. Those two traits don't coexist peacefully. Still, I told myself it's one night, for Daniel, for the family. I had no idea how wrong I was. The restaurant was elegant, too elegant. Crystal chandeliers, soft violin music, linen tablecloths so white they made me nervous to touch anything. As I walked in, leaning lightly on my cane, I scanned the room for familiar faces. The long table was already full. Daniel stood up first. "Mom, happy birthday." He hugged me warmly, the way he always has, and for a moment my heart softened. Then I noticed something. The seating. Melissa had placed herself at the head of the table, my seat, while I was directed to the far end, next to a distant cousin I barely knew. My best friend Ruth, who had been like a sister to me for 40 years, wasn't there at all. I leaned toward Daniel. "Sweetheart, where's Ruth?" Melissa answered before he could. "Oh, I didn't think she'd be comfortable here. It's a bit upscale." Ruth worked as a school secretary her entire life. She had more class than anyone I knew. I swallowed my words. Let it go, I told myself. The waiter came around with menus. Everyone else ordered wine. When I asked for a small glass of red, the waiter hesitated and glanced at Melissa. "She doesn't drink," Melissa said briskly. I stared at her. "Excuse me." "You told me years ago alcohol gives you headaches," she replied smoothly. "That was 20 years ago," I said quietly, "and I didn't tell you." An awkward silence followed. The waiter looked uncomfortable. "I'll have a glass of red," I repeated. Melissa's jaw tightened. Strike one. Dinner progressed, but the evening felt less like a celebration and more like a performance, Melissa's performance. She stood up halfway through the meal, tapped her glass, and announced, "I just want to say how grateful we are to take care of Mom at her age." At her age? "She's been forgetful lately," Melissa continued with a laugh, "so we're making sure everything is handled for her." My fork froze midair. "Forgetful?" Daniel looked confused. "Melissa." "It's fine," she waved him off. "It's nothing to be embarrassed about." My cheeks burned. I had never been diagnosed with anything. I lived alone. I paid my bills. I drove myself. I ran a community book club. But in that moment, she painted me as fragile, incompetent, old. Strike two. Then came the take. A massive chocolate cake was rolled out, candles blazing. Everyone sang. I made a wish not for health or long life but for strength, and blew out the candles. Melissa clapped loudly, now for the surprise. A folder was placed in front of me. "What's this?" I asked. Melissa beamed. "Legal paperwork. We thought it was time." Daniel frowned. "Time for what?" "For Mom to stop living alone," Melissa said. "We've already found a lovely assisted living facility. Very safe, very quiet." The room went silent. I slowly opened the folder. It wasn't finalized, but it was clear. Power of attorney drafts, medical consent forms, housing agreements. She had planned this on my birthday. "I didn't agree to this," I said, my voice steady but cold. Melissa's smile faltered. "Well, we didn't want to worry you." "I'm not worried," I said. "I'm furious." Daniel stood up. "Melissa, why would you do this without talking to Mom?" She scoffed. "Because someone has to be realistic. She's 70, Daniel, things happen." Something inside me snapped. 70 didn't mean invisible, or powerless, or stupid. I stood up slowly, my cane tapping against the marble floor. My hands trembled, but not from weakness, from years of swallowed words. "Do you want realism?" I said. "Fine, let's be real." Melissa crossed her arms. "Mom, you're making a scene." "No," I said, "you did." I looked around the table at my family. at the strangers who had been invited instead of the people who truly knew me. Melissa, I continued, you've spent years treating me like a burden, but you don't know the truth. Her eyes narrowed. What truth? I took a breath. The house you live in, I said calmly, was never Daniel's inheritance. Daniel turned sharply. What? I bought that house, I said, with money I earned before Daniel was even married. I put it in his name temporarily for tax reasons. Melissa laughed nervously. That's not true. Oh, it is, I replied, and I've kept the deed. Daniel stared at me. Mom, why did you tell me? Because I trusted you, I said, and I wanted to believe your wife respected me. Melissa's face drained of color. There's more, I said quietly. She swallowed. What more? The business loan you took 3 years ago, I asked, when your boutique was failing. Daniel looked confused again. What loan? Melissa's mouth opened, then closed. I co-signed it, I said. When the bank said no, I saved your business. The room buzzed with murmurs. And when it failed anyway, I continued, I paid it off, in full, to protect my son. Daniel sank back into his chair. Melissa, you told me your aunt helped you. I turned back to Melissa. I stayed silent because I didn't want to humiliate you. Her breathing grew shallow. But tonight, I said, you tried to strip me of my independence, in public, on my birthday. Her knees wobbled. So here's my confession, I said, my voice unwavering. I am not helpless, I am not confused, and I will not sign a single document that takes my life out of my hands. Melissa swayed. And if you ever try to control me again, I finished, I will take back everything I've given. She gasped. Then she fainted. Chaos erupted. Someone called for water, another for help. The waiter rushed over. Daniel knelt beside Melissa, panic on his face. I remained standing. For the first time that night, no one ignored me. Melissa was taken outside to recover. The party was effectively over. Daniel approached me later, eyes red. Mom, I didn't know about any of it. I know, I said gently, that's part of the problem. I should have listened to you more, he whispered. Yes, I agreed, you should have. He nodded slowly. I'm sorry. We hugged, long and tight, the way we used to when he was a boy. As for Melissa, she avoided me for weeks after that night. When she finally spoke to me again, her voice was different, quieter, careful. The paperwork disappeared. So did the assumptions. My 70th birthday wasn't ruined after all. It was reclaimed. And sometimes the most powerful gift you can give yourself, at any age, is the courage to finally tell the truth.